Hello, Warbird fans. Welcome in, everybody. Today we are here talking. Welcome to the Warbirds. Here today, guys. My name is Ghost Rider. Behind me, we are talking about this plane behind me right now, and it is a amazing, amazing thing. You guys won't want to miss. Let me just say that these planes behind me are just phenomenal. They are beautiful airplanes. They're gorgeous. They fly phenomenal. How was that music performance that we just heard, folks? That was awesome, wasn't it? Let's give it up. Yes, indeed. Let's give it up to the music artists. We'd like to thank you guys so much for taking your time here this afternoon or this morning, everybody. My name is Ghost Rider. Thank you guys. Excuse me. Welcome to the SNF air show here this afternoon, day one of the air show. We have a whole week full. We welcome you guys in. Hello, Levi. Welcome into today's broadcast. We are talking about this beauty right behind me here, which is called the C-47. Let me just tell you guys a little bit about the C-47. It was used in World War II, which actually dropped the parachuters. It was amazing airplane. It's a beautiful airplane. It was a C-47. Why did they call it a C-47? That's the military version. That's the Warbird military version of the C-47. Replacing the C-47, it originally was a DC-3. You can still call it a DC-3, but instead of that, guys, it is a military aircraft, which you would call the C-47 airplane. Okay, sounds good. Um, So the C-47, guys, is a U.S. Army airplane which was used in World War II. As you guys can tell, the C-47 is a beautiful airplane. Yeah, I can step away from here for a second so you guys can see the plane and just hear my voice for a second. Um, a beautiful airplane, and you can call it a DC-3. It is a DC-3, right? It is a DC-3. It's a cargo plane. It's a C-47. But C-47s are war planes back in World War II. So let me just say welcome in, everybody. We are about to talk about the C-47 here this afternoon. The C-47 was vital of success of many allied companies, in particular those at Guadalcanal and the jungles of New Guinea and Burma, where the C-47 and its naval version, the R4D, made it possible for the Allied troops to counter the mobility of light traveling Japanese armies. So that's what this plane was used for. So it went from all over the place. It went, I would say, it went to 100 different countries, which is pretty amazing. Um, cool. Um, I could take your questions after I'm done with this little presentation here. Each day we have a different plane that we're talking about. Today we're talking about the C-47. Tomorrow we're either talking about the F-86 or the F-86 or the Huey helicopter. I think it might be Huey, but I could be wrong. But C-47s were used to airlift supplies to encircled American forces during the Battle of Bastogne in Belgium. So they transported a lot of. So these planes actually transported a lot of the what do you call it? Um, Medical stuff for the people that if they started feeling sick, they had supplies to like bandages and whatever else. So they used those for protection to keep them healthy. So that's what this plane they airlifted a lot of supplies um, to Belgium with what they had going on here. Possibly the its most role in the military aviation, however, was flying the hump from India to China. So they flew from India and they flew it all the way to China. So that gives the opportunity of the aircraft um, So it went from India to China. Then Express gained flying the hump later used in Berlin. Um, Airlift in which the C-47 played a major role in the aircraft was replaced by the Douglas C-54. So they had a DC Douglas C-54, which was another type of aircraft, which was called the Skymaster. In Europe, the C-47 and the specialized paratrooper variant, the C-53 Skytrooper. So they had Skytroopers, which they did have paratroopers jumping from the aircraft from the C-47. Um, Particularly, they had tow planes also. So they had tow gliders. The tow gliders were the just glider aircraft, which they used to drop paratroopers as well. So during the invasion of Sicily in July 1943, C-47s dropped about 4,000, right? 4,000. Remember, 4,381 Allied paratroopers. So they dropped 4,000 of these guys from out of this plane right behind me. That is amazing. That is amazing. More than 50,000 paratroopers were dropped from the C-47. Actually, no. So 4,000 of them were dropped from the C-47s, but then 50,000 added up, which was dropped from the C-47 during the first few days of D-Day. So that's what this plane did. So this plane went to D-Day. It dropped parachuters, paratroopers, which was absolutely phenomenal. I can't tell you guys how much this whole thing is interesting. Campaign cam uh, Allied campaign, also known as the invasion of Normandy, which was in France in 1943. So 1943, there was a thing, invasion of Normandy, which I would take about 50 of these airplanes behind me right now, went over to Normandy. I don't know how many planes exactly total were over there, but I would say tons of these planes behind me went over to Normandy in France in June of 1944. In the Pacific War, with careful use of the island landing strips of the Pacific Ocean, C-47s were used for ferrying soldiers serving in the Pacific theater back to the United States. So they went from the Pacific, they went to the Pacific, and they moved all the way back to the United States. I tell you a lot of facts about this stuff. It is very interesting. About 2,000 C-47s um, about 2,000 C-47s received under Lend-Lease in British and Commonwealth service took the name Dakota, possibly inspired by the anachrome Dakota for the Douglas Aircraft Company transport in aircraft. So most of them they call them Dakotas. So Dakota was a Douglas Aircraft Company transport aircraft, which they used. The C-47 has also a nickname called Goonie Bird. They call these planes Goonie Birds. You guys are probably like, what is a Goonie Bird? This bad boy behind me is called the Goonie Bird. In the European theater of operations, other sources attribute the name to the first aircraft used as USMC R2D, the military version of the DC-2, being the first aircraft to land on Midway Island, previously home to the long-winged albatross known as the Goonie Bird, which was the native to the Midway. So that's some interesting facts right there. Um, and the C-47s guys have been popular. They're still flying today. They're still flying in air shows all over the place. They're still doing stuff um, with so much, so much going on with those planes. The United States Air Force Strategic Air Command had sky trains in the service from 1946 to 1967. The U.S. Air Force 6 Special Operations Squadron was flying the C-47 until 2008. So that's these planes have used them in the Air Force 6 Special Operations Squadrons, which they were flying until 2020, 2008. With these planes behind me, they sound great. They still run excellent. They're phenomenal. With all the aircraft and pilots having been part of the Indian Air Force prior to independence, both of the Indian Air Force and Pakistan Air Force use C-47s to transport supplies to their soldiers fighting in the Indo-Pakistan War of 1947. So, guys, this plane has been around for a long time. I can tell you, it's a beautiful plane. Let's look at it. You can look at it again. After the World War II, thousands of surplus C-47s were converted to civilian airline, used some remaining in operations in 2012, as well as being used as private aircraft. In October 1956, a U.S. Navy R-4D-5L named Q Sarah landed in the South Pole in Antarctica. That was the first time humans had been at the pole since 1912. So see, by the other pilots that flew there. Several C-47 variants were used in the Vietnam War by the United States Air Force, including 3 advanced electrical warfare verifications, which sometimes were called electric Goonies. So the Goonies, they were called electric Goonies, designed EC-47N, EC-47P, or EC-47Q, depending on the engine used. So it has different engines, which you could totally use for that. In addition, HC-47s were used by the 9th Special Operations Squadron to conduct physical warfare operations over South Vietnam and at Los Miami International. Miami International Airport was a USAF military depot used to convert a commercial DC-3s, so they were all in the Miami International Airport. They came into the commercial aircraft purchase the Third World Airlines. So then they became DC-3s, which actually changed them or made them into DC-3s, which gave them DC-3s they turned into the C-47s into the military use. So they wanted to use it for military use. So that's why that you see these things green with invasion stripes. So much history that goes on with these planes. They used commercial from Third World Airlines. So they used it for airliners before they had those big jumbo planes. These planes were airliners at one point and were completely striped, rebuilt with combustion long-range fuel tanks were installed, so they had a lot of fuel. Because if you were traveling from around the world in these things, you did need a lot of fuel that were part of the fuel range here. So that's why it's so much fuel. That's why they were installed, so they can get around further. Just like an airliner, when you go up in an airline aircraft, that's why it lasts a long time, because they installed a lot of fuel tanks that keeps the plane going as long as you have to. So that's why it's like that. Along with the upgraded avionics and gun mounts. So they had gun mounts in front of the airplane, which could protect them from getting shot down by the other pilots that were heading into the aviation or into the other territory. EC-47s were also operated by the Vietnamese Lotion and combination Air Force a gunship variation using three 7.62 miniguns designated AC-47. So they had DC-3s, they had AC-47s, they had C-47s. This one is called the AC-47, Other than that, the name was called Spooky. Other nickname was Pout the Magic Dragon. Also was deployed on the airplane as well, so people knew what it was. In June of 1975, the USAF retired the last C-47 in service. So they retired the C-47 from the air service. They retired that plane. They retired this plane from the air service in 1975 in June. So after World War II, they retired these things in 1975. In the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps, the McDonnell Douglas DC-9 airliner. So that's another airliner, guys, which is another DC-3, except it's a DC-9 airliner. Is in U.S. Navy service, was nicknamed the C-9B Skytrain in honor of the C-47 Skytrain. So they did have a C-47, which was called Skytrain. This is Skytrain number 2, guys. This is C-9B Skytrain 2 in honor of the C-47. So the C-47 Skytrain, and then it became the C-9B Skytrain 2. So it's the second one. Initial military version of the DC-3 had 4 crew pilots, co-pilots, navigator, and radio operator, and seats for 27 troops alongside the fuselage interior. So what do I mean by that? They had 27 troops along. So they had co-pilots. They had 4 co-pilots. They had 4 crew pilots, co-pilots, navigator, and radio operator. So that held about 27 troops alongside the fuselage interior. Aerial ambulances fitted for casualty evacuation and carry 18 stretcher cases for medical. So they used it for medical issues as well. Carried about 18 stretchers. Can you imagine 18 of them? So if you were sick or something and you need medical work, you absolutely can go. They'll get you on one of the 18 stretchers. 1965 built, including 12 for the United States Navy and R4D for the C-47. C-47 with 24-volt electrical systems, 5,254. Remember that number, 5,254 built, including USN aircraft design R4D5. So there you guys go right there. There's some interesting facts right there. The C-47 equipped for the photography, restoration, and Elant missions. So they went over there with the RC-47A. There's different letters. There's different names for them. You can call them C-47B, C-47A, C-47D. There's so much different names. CSC-47A equipped for search air rescue. So they had one for search and rescue. So if somebody totally had problems and they couldn't find anybody, they used the SC-47A equipped for air rescue, which they had a big camera on the front of the plane, and they could absolutely spot where the person would be. Equipped for VIP transport role, and that's the VC-47A. That's the VC-47A. The C-47B, powered by our 1830 90 engines with 2-speed supercharged built, better altitude performance to cover the China Burma India route. 3,364 was built of those. So that was a lot that was built there. VC-47B was equipped for a transport role. The XC-47, C-47 tested with Edo model, 78 floats for possible use as a seaplane. So they did make these planes. They did put floats on these planes, which gave them a chance to land in water to rescue people and do stuff like that. You also got the C-47B, which with second speed, high blower or engine, supercharged disabled, or removed after the war. So they removed the supercharged from the aircraft after the war was done. So the AC-47D, Spooky, the gunship aircraft with 3 side-firing .30 and 7.62 mm minigun machine guns for the airplane Spooky. The C-47D with the equipment for the electronics collaboration, of which 26 were convicted by Hayes 1953. Prior to 1962 was designated AC-47. So then the NC-47D came along, modified for the test rolls for that. You also got there's so much to go through here. How about the C-53? It was a troop transport version of the C-47 that lacked reinforced cargo floor, large cargo door, and hoist attachment of the C-47 Skytrain. So they C-53 was a transport version of the C-47. So it was like the C-47, but it was a C-53 Sky Trooper, which is another transportation plane for the war. It was dedicated for troop transport role and could carry 28 passengers in fixed metal seats arranged in rows in the former cargo space. 221 built. 221 of those aircraft were built. Douglas C-53 Sky Trooper 4935 operated by a skydiving service, and that was the skydiving service that took place in Arizona. You also got so much of these facts. You know, there's a lot going on with all these planes. Then you also got the Dakota, what I was talking about before. Duration for the C-47 and R-4D1. The Dakota designation for 9 C-53 Sky Troops received under the Land-Lynn scheme, unlike the majority of the RAF Dakotas. So that's they also have Dakotas. They also have so much, and you could see the operators list. You can go through the list. Not going to name all the listings because there's a lot. Surviving aircraft. Large numbers of the C-47s, C-117s, and other variants survive on display in museums or as monuments operated as warbirds. So all the warbirds are remaining in services as part of the 75th anniversary of commemoration in June 2019. 14 American C-47s and another group, DACs, they call them DACs, from Europe, retraced the route across the English Channel to Normandy, taken by roughly 850 of these aircraft on D-Day. So there was 850 of these C-47s, which you see behind me, that were in Normandy on D-Day. Among them were Bestie Biscuit Bomber, Miss Montana, Spirit of Benovia, D-Day Dolly, D-Day Doll, Boogie Baby, N47E, Miss Virginia, and Whiskey 7. I can tell you the max speed for these things. The maximum speed goes 224 knots, which is knots means 224 miles per hour if you were driving in a car. Airplanes, they're knots. You know, there's so much that goes on and on with these aircraft. And talking about all the DC-3s and C-47s, I can tell you C-47s are great planes. They are great planes. You also got the C-46 Commando, which was like a C-47. It was like a C-47, but instead it was called the Commando, Curtiss C-46 Commando. If you don't know what that is, look that plane up. And they also had Junkers Ju-52 3M. So that was another warplane. McDonnell Douglas was the one that built the DC-3s. Um, you got so many aircraft. Let me go through the list a little bit on where all these planes went. So they went over 100 states. They went to Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Benin, Biafra, Bangladesh, however you pronounce it, Bolivia, Brazil, Burma, Canada, Chad, Chile, China, Republic of Congo, Dominic, Cuba, whatever, Denmark, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Finland, France, Greece. They went from all over United States. So you do got so many of these aircraft. And let's talk a little bit about the Super DC-3. All right, the Super DC-3 R4D8. Now, it was a Navy version of it. All right, it was a Navy version of the Super DC-3 R4D8. Large numbers of the DC-3 and Super Plus C-47s were in commercial use in the United States in 1940. So they had, in 1940, large numbers of DC-3s. So there was large numbers of DC-3s and Super Plus C-47s in the United States in 1940. I'm not sure if I talked about this or not. During World War II, the armed forces of many countries used the C-47 and modified DC-3s for the transport of troops, cargo, and wounded. The U.S. naval destination was more than 10,000 aircraft were produced in Long Beach and Santa Monica, California, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Between March 1943 and August of 1945, the Oklahoma City plant produced 5,354 C-47. So the plant has um, produced 5,354 of these C-47s that's behind me. As we look at the plane again, guys, if you guys have any questions on any of this, let me know. Feel free to ask me. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. There are different ones. There are different DC-3s and C-47s in the world, right? We know that. We know. The Dakota Skytrain. Let's look. I'm going to actually show you guys some pictures from the C-47. If I can pop this thing up here, I will show you pictures. C-47. It is. They are planes that they have used. Let me move this over for a quick second so you guys can see what we have going here. We're gonna shut off the green screen here for a second. Sorry guys, my hand's in the way. So here's some pictures. All right, there's some pictures of the C-47s that we were talking about. Now, here's one right here. Let's see if we can light it up to make it bigger. Maybe not. So these are C-47s, and here we go right here. Here's a classic. This is a super classic C-47 back in the day. This is one of the C-47s. I think they're very unique looking aircraft in a way. Here's one that was totaled, if that's what you would say. Um, let's see if there's a picture. We're not going to show you all that info at the moment. Here's one right here, guys. Back in the So that's a C-47 right there, guys. That's what it looks like. And there's the picture of the troops trying to get into the. It is trying to get into the stuff. Here's one that the troops are already lending a hand here, guys. It is lending a hand inside the aircraft. Here they are flying. Now this plane right now, the C-47. This is absolutely one of those planes. All right, these are C-47s that were used in for the war. So I guess that is all we have here. But like this one though, guys, has been Skytrain. It's they're unique aircraft. They're not cool aircraft. There's so many of these planes. As you look at all these pictures, you got one from inside. You got one. Um, there's a lot of C-47s. There's these planes are just historical. I mean, they're very old. They're old. And if you guys have any questions on any of this, let me know. Feel free to ask me. I will try my best to answer them for you guys. Um, we do appreciate you guys so very much. So we do have, like I said, we do have some of the. So there we go, guys. As we have some of the stuff from the DC-3, the C-47s. Um, These planes are very historical. You learn a lot from these planes. You also learn a lot um, from all these different aircraft. Just a reminder, guys, just a reminder, you can check back. Tomorrow we have another presentation on the F-86 Sabre. We have presentations all week. We do appreciate it. I hope you guys are learning a lot from this, all this stuff in aviation, especially the C-47, which, like I said, was a great plane for that they still use today for air shows. You see a lot of them. They do have a lot on display at the grounds. I know they have a few of them right now on the grounds right now. But if you guys have any questions at this time, feel free to ask me. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. If you guys are going to watch the rerun of this, thank you so much. Let me know. Just let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you need any, if you have any questions on anything, or if you have any questions on any of the C-47 stuff that I was talking about. Feel free to ask right now. I will be here to answer your questions. I'm open for questions, so if you guys have any questions on any of the C-47 info, let me know right now. And let me say, the C-47s, um, why did they have pictures? You're probably wondering, why do they have pictures right there on the nose? That's because it's just World War II nose art. So they do have pictures um, showing you guys and of what you guys anticipate. So if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask right now. I'm available to answer. Any questions on the C-47? Feel free to chime in. We do take questions. We'd like to hear your questions and what you thought about facts about this beautiful C-47 bird behind me here. Everything I talked about the C-47, guys, if you have any info or if you have any questions about the C-47, feel free to ask me. I will be more than happy to answer your guys' questions. Feel free to ask. Or feel free to comment. I will totally respond to your comments after after this presentation. So like I said, guys, if you guys have any questions about the C-47 or the DC-3s, DC-3s are also cargo planes, which they did use, which they are flying right now too. There are C-47s left. They do restore them. They do fix them up and stuff like that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Feel free in the live chat right now, or feel free to comment after the presentation. Don't forget tomorrow. I think tomorrow's schedule looks like it's going to be at 9:30 again, same time what we started today. And it should be an hour or so as we talk about the F-86. I think tomorrow might be the F-86, guys, as we do have the DC-3 or C-47. So if you guys have any questions right now, feel free to ask me. I will be more than happy to answer your questions about what I talked about with the C-47 or DC-3s. DC-3s, like I said, are still planes, planes that are flying. DC-3s and C-47s are the same thing. C-47s are military. Remember, C-47 military, and DC-3 is just a normal airliner. So if nobody has any questions at this time, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the F-86 Sabre jet. That will be tomorrow. So if you guys have any updates on that, please let me know, and we will get you guys started with the F-86 presentation tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9:30, the F-86 will be on the stage, and we will be talking about the F-86 Sabre tomorrow. If you don't know what the F-86 Sabre is, it's a Vietnam jet, I think it is. But we have details and updates for you guys along the way there. So thank you guys for taking your time. Give yourself a round of applause. Thanks for hanging in here, guys. Thanks for enjoying the chat about the DC-3 and C-47s. If there's no questions, make sure if you are watching the rerun, make sure you comment. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the F-86 Sabre.